Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. As a reminder to you all, my name is Callie, and in inspiration of Captain America, as well as this week's theme of superheroes and helpers, I am going to teach you guys, and you can follow along with me, to create a DIY Captain America shield. So there's only a few things you need for this activity. The first being either a paper plate or a frisbee. So I am going to be using a paper plate because the frisbee I was going to use I couldn't find. If you actually want it to be a harder surface and easier to throw or easier to stop things, I would suggest using a frisbee, but a paper plate works just as well for the look of it. So I can show you exactly what to do on here that you could copy onto a frisbee. As well, you'll need a pencil to kind of outline this guy so we can put some lines in so you know where to paint. I put on the flyer tape and scissors is optional because when you're creating the star, sometimes it can be easier if you want to tape around that. But I'm just going to be showing you today with a pencil. And then lastly, you'll need your paints. For this, you'll need red, white, and blue, so a little patriotic again. And you'll need some paint brushes. And with that, you'll need something to hold your paints. I'm using a shoebox, but you could use a paper plate, any type of paper, anything that will hold your paint while you're going to and from your shield. So without further ado, I will just get started. So if you don't know what the Captain America shield looks like, basically it has 3 rings on the outside. So the first is red, white, red, and then in the middle there's a star, and it is blue in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start from the outside and kind of work my way in. And I'm going to right now I'm going to just kind of estimate where I want to create my lines. So obviously this is very dependent on what you are using, as we will all be using different sizes, but for the most part, you just want to make them even enough to where when they line up in the middle, okay, I don't know if you can see my indents here, but so from this little dash, I will go out with red. This, because my paper plate is white, I'm actually just going to leave it, but say your paper plate was a different color or your frisbee was a different color, you would color in this section white. Now I'll go in one more time, create another circle, and then from there, we will create the star. Alright, so for the star, I'm just going to go in on my own. But like I said, you could use scissors and tape and cut out your own star. That way it is more even. Alright. So here's my star. There, you can see it when it's like that. But so now that I have everything kind of lined up, how I'd like, we will just go in and start adding the paint. So I'm just gonna wrap Alright, so you can see a little bit not better. Now I have all my lines done, and we will jump in with the paint. So, as I said, the inside right next to the star is blue, and then from there we will just be working with red. Again, if you don't have a white plate or frisbee, you're going to want to use white paint as well, but today I will not be using white. Alright, so next we will be working from the inside out, so nothing really mixes together. So doing that, we will start with our blue, so we'll place our blue down now too. And then I'm going to take a smaller brush, and if you can see, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the entire star as well as fill in that circle. Alright, so I have one little section filled in, and now I'm just going to go around the entire shield. I can show you what I'm doing here, maybe. So I'm just going to be filling in all these spaces. As I said, mine aren't going to be as even as you would not just eyeballing out a star, but I kind of like this, so we're going to keep it like this. I find it much easier to just be filling this in kind of as I go, but you can start anywhere. And if you don't want to use the colors of Captain America, you can obviously go in with any colors that you like. I'm just showing you what that character's shield looks like in the comic books and in the movies. But a pretty simple activity. It's more time consuming with the paint, as you have to be a little bit more precise than you would with other activities. Alright, so I'm almost done going around the star. So I'm going to finish up this spot real quick. Alright, so this is what I have as for right now. I'm going to go around one more time and clean up all the edges, but then the center is done. Alright, so as you can see, we have that first section done. So I'm just going to set that paintbrush to the side, and now we are going to work our way out. So from here, the next ring around will be red, then white, then red. So the very first thing I am going to do is I'm going to immediately kind of outline this blue circle pretty closely. That way I don't mix my paints when I'm going around, because that will just create a purple color with the red and the blue. And we don't want that to happen. If you wanted to, it would be easier to just leave your blue to dry for a few minutes and then come back to it. But I'm just going to work my way out so you guys can see the entire shield kind of come together. And it doesn't matter so much. I mean, if you are mixing colors on accident, you can just wipe it off a little bit and come back and touch up that color at the very end. You can even come back in with white and fill in those spots that I'm not, just to kind of make it pop a little bit more. But okay, so I went around it once, and now I'm just going to kind of expand this about an inch, a little less than an inch. And as you may have noticed, when I'm going around, I've made more of an oval shape than a circle, but that's due to how I created my star. So again, that star really does kind of outline what your ending result will look like, but it is really up to you how you'd like to do that. If you wanted and you thought it'd be easier, you could also draw a star on a white piece of paper and then cut it out and stick it on there. So as you can see, now I've gone with that red ring. Now we were going to leave another space for white, or if you're using something colored, you want to fill that next ring in white. And then lastly, fill the remainder ring with red. So I'm first just gonna kind of go around with the red again and kind of create myself a guideline just so I don't kind of overlap any layers. Alright, so as you can see, I created that last ring, and now from here out, you just want to fill in the remainder of the plate red. Because we are going to the edge, this can tend to be a little bit messier, so if you do want to be careful, you could always put something underneath your plate while painting. I'm just going to pick mine up as I go around, like this. So we're just gonna continue. I'll show you what I'm doing. Fill in the entire space. So I only have a little bit left here. Keep going, just a little bit left. Alright, and then this last section. Alright. So once we finish that last section, this is what it looks like. And as you can see, that middle white ring isn't exactly straight. So the last thing we can do is kind of go touch it up. So I'll take a little bit of white and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So it looks fine. Down here, I kind of bumped some red as well as over there. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and just go right over those dots. And I'm doing this now because my red paint that I started with down there is actually already dry, so I don't have to worry about paint smearing as much. Just like that. So I can kind of go around the entire thing, clean up some lines. And you could also do this to the star if you'd like, but I think I did a pretty good job on my star, so I'm going to leave my star as it is. Obviously, it's up to you. Alright. So here is our final result. Obviously, you could go around with that white again, like I said, but I'm going to leave mine just as touch-ups, just like that. But that is our activity today. If you are using a Frisbee, I would suggest leaving it a couple hours to dry, just because you want to make sure all that paint is dry before you are using it. With the plate, I would leave it for an hour or two to dry as well, but since the plate is not as functional as a Frisbee or a shield, you don't have to wait as long if you wouldn't want to. But that is all I have for you guys today. So I will leave a picture in the comments below of what my final result looks like, as well as I will be putting the flyer for this activity down below as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this activity. It was super fun to make and super easy. But thank you all for watching. Have a great day.